Okay, so the h'tchk over there in Hora 42, where he says Kirdua shegeula b'shminis. So he brings the things that we're familiar with. I thought that he meant, but the lashon is a little bit unusual. Namely, that Shmini Atzeres and Chanukah, all these inyanim and the kinnur of Lasid Lavei, the harp will be of 8 strings. The inyan of Shmini L'mayla Mishtalshalus. And that's Bina, because Ishtalshalus basically is the 7 midas, Shivas Yimei Binyan. And as we said, Bina is above that, but Das is the link, so Das is not counted. So Bina is the inyan of L'mayla Mishtalshalus. So what did he say? He said that in this, there's 2 efanim of tshuva. We're talking tshuva ilah, tashav hey, bina. It's all geula. This is all the tikkun mipnei chatainu galina me'atzenu. So what's the tshuva ilah? There's 2 efanim, milamata lamayla. That's the focus on the hey. That's tshuva tata, or the lower level of tshuva in tshuva ilah rather. And tshuva ilah milmayla lamata, and that's the yud, even to the level of atik. And how did he say it in avodah? He said earlier, it's 2 efanim livad Torah. We're talking bina, we're talking limud Torah, we're talking Torah. Atik is nisgal in Torah. That's in bina. That's the shoresh of bina. So we're left with the shoresh and the manifestation. The manifestation is bina, the shoresh is atik. So what's there in avodah? That's avodah ba'avona v'asaga. Limud Torah ba'avona v'asaga. That's the emphasis, is the understanding, which is a chelik of limud Torah. And then there's the avodah mitzad chaye, the limud Torah mitzad chaye yichida, pnimis haneshama, paralleling atik. The shoresh and market of bina. And we suggested that what does it mean? Limud Torah mitzad b'chinas chaye yichida is learning with bittul, tremendous bittul. In the learning gufa, this bittul is the deeper and deeper hargosha of the Neisan HaTorah, of the Lamaylim and HaSeichel, even as he learns in the Seichel, and the various manifestations or expressions of bittul. So that's the union avodah. That's tshuva ilah. In summary, tshuva ilah is Torah, is bina. The 2 efanim, he said, in tshuva ilah is mitzad bina, the sheresh of bina atik. Clear? He did. Oh, David, I'm sorry you just missed that summary.
Okay. It was over my head.
No, it's not over anybody's. No, it's over everybody's head, but the technical everybody can grasp.
And who says it's okay?
Huh? I'm going to say it again.
I said, and who says it's okay that he missed it?
It's okay that it's wonderful that he's here. That's.
You're right. Okay, I'll take it back.
All right, take it back. So just to repeat it again, and this is the geography and levels connected, but it's not just geography. We can have some measure of understanding. Namely, there's 2 tshuvas, 2 returning of the hay, the lower hay, the higher hay. We're talking about returning of toshav hay, the higher hay, to the yud. So what's the higher hay? The higher hay is bina. So what's the 2 efanim? Milamayla lamata and milamata lamayla, that is in the toshav hay. Milamata lamayla is the basic level. What is hay? Hay represents bina, understanding. So tshuva, toshav hay, milamata lamayla means limud haTorah with ever deepening understanding. What is meant by tshuva ilah, milamayla lamata? That's unlocking the shoresh of bina. The shirish of bina is the etzem nefesh, is atik. What does it mean to learn Torah with the shirish of bina? It means to learn Torah with the pnimis haneshama, which is chayin yechida. What does it mean to learn Torah with pnimis haneshama? With bittul, a tremendous bittul. Mesiras nefesh, bittul, ever deepening sense of the giver of Torah. You said yesterday in Chavrusa, for example, it's not about it all being right. It's about understanding, and he welcomes criticism. Many manifestations of learning with bittul, and there's no end to this avodah of learning Torah with chayin yechida, with bittul, with the sense of the giver of Torah, the holiness of it. I'm not saying this, what I'm going to tell you now is our avodah in Chabad, but I remember I was at a bar mitzvah or an aufruf of a family member, Gestetner Skvere Simcha, and they pointed out to me about a younger man. That's how they said it, that the younger man finished us. He was a Eloi. He finished us, and he learned it. Forgot the way. He learned it with his hat and rekel and gartel, and he even wore boots. It's the spitz, but I don't know how they call it in square, but the high boots, yeah. So summer and winter, full regalia. Okay, that's a chetzonistic expression of learning with bittul. Yeah, it's more comfortable, definitely in the summer, to learn without your hat and so on. I'm not saying this is an avodah in Chabad. It's not, but it's a chagas expression of learning with bittul. It's a Tzedek. No, we know the story. It's a Tzedek after Verbringing Simchas Beis She'eva. He used to take a lot of mashka, and afterwards he would learn standing, poskim be'iyun. That's a different thing a little bit. Shouldn't be. It says there shouldn't be nikin chitzonim from the Verbringing, from the mashka. But kaponim, it's connected. Standing, dafke, standing in of bittul, and he's learning poskim, which is havan the vasoga, understanding. Okay, so I'm not saying again that's for us to learn the gartel and the hat. We don't do that. Learn, be comfortable, and learn. But pnimis dike bittul to the Noisen HaTorah and to others. That yes, so that's learning Torah with. That's the tshuva of the hay milamayla lamata. What is mayla lamata? Because you're bringing to bear the shoyrish to the mata, to the actual bina. You're bringing the yud to the bina, if you like, or the shoyrish of bina to bina. You're learning it. You're learning with bittul. The other oifen is the emphasis is in the learning and the understanding. Both in this is the Alter Rebbe Tanya says that when you learn, you can't be thinking of the Noisen HaTorah when you're learning. You have to learn, you have to engage your mind in a very analytical way and in a very personal way. You have to understand. So every so often we have to stop and be misbeinen. What are we learning? This is Torah Hashem, the Noisen HaTorah. So that moment of stopping to learn, for a moment, he's learning the Gemara and the Svaras, and it's a very rigorously intellectual world. Every 2 hours, every 2.5 hours, he's misbeinen, he stops for a second. Who's Torah? This is the Eibish's Torah, the Eibish's Chachma, lending the bittul to the learning. So Pashat in Zmanim, physically on the clock, there's a hay part and Milamata Lamaila, and there's a Milamayla Lamata. So this is Tshuva of Tzadikim, etc. This is the Tshuva Ilo. Now big Chiddushim coming, okay? So we're clear somewhat, yeah? So also to consider this is 2 o'clock in the morning after I say this, it's getting more dense. It started off very, very basic. They're introducing very basic ideas. Elikim, Tzimtzum, Kirtua, very basic ideas. Okay, is Dalit. Kudos to the Chayzim. I guess that's Rabbi Yoel, that I have to say that to remember every pratia. There's no recorder, friends.
For 2 days. For 2 days they have to retain it.
Well, this is the second night. It's the second night of Yom Tov. The Fabrenga was the second night. The Sichos and so on was always the second night.
The Chayzim would remember the Sichos from the day and the first night and the Maimon.
No, the whole Fabrenga and the Sichos, everything was the second night.
Okay.
And
Still.
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah. No, it's just 2:00 in the morning at least, or later. Many of the sichas that we have on the Haggadah, and there's Sfarim, there's a whole 2-volume set of the Rebbe's Biyurim on the Haggadah. Many of them were said Pesach night, second night. But she went to the Haggadah. They is very Gishmak Biyurim, beautiful. I mean, all Biyurim are beautiful. Okay, so now let's continue. Ois Dalet. V'hinei, I have to finish today at 6:30 on time, everything because of the next year. V'hinei Dalet b'chines hanal b'tshuva. So these 4 levels of tshuva. What's the 4 levels? The 4 levels in tshuva ilah and tshuva tatah. So the tshuva ilah we just described. The 4 levels in tshuva tatah. I'm sorry, the 2 levels in tshuva tatah is sumidana seitov, right? So shehem keneged daled oisis the Shem Havaya, which we said correspond to the 4 oisis of Shem Havaya. The lower hey, toshuv hey tshuva tatah, being malchus, which is behavior machshava dibur ma'aseh. So that's fixing it. In Sur Mirana Seitov, that's the 2 we found him there. So he continues in Gam Dalad al Lashenis Shel Geula. If you look at the 4 Lashenis of Geula, we can see there these 4 levels of tshuva, and the 4 expressions are V'yitzesi, I'll take you out. Abisha tells Moishe to tell the Yidden, I'll take them out. You, referring to Yidden, Vitzalti, save you, V'ga'alti, redeem you, V'lakachti, and take you. So now the Rebbe spells out, V'yitzesi, this you can say, just say to this word here. V'yitzesi, ko'el alaveda de surmira. Take you out, that's surmira. Turn from evil, right? Leaving evil, leaving it behind, out of here. Shazeh mashakos of V'yitzesi, eschem mitachas sivlis Mitzrayim. The pasuk says, I will take you out from the burdens, the burden of Egypt, because a sin is a burden. Ki oven b'chinas sevel, an aveda is a burden. It's baggage we don't want to carry around. We're burdened with it. Push it literally. The time of the moment. Obviously, the person enjoyed it, he wouldn't have done it. But afterwards, he just carries around this guilt. And it's a burden. The pasuk says, Am keved ovain, a burdened, sinful people. We had in Hayom Yom, right? COVID. Did we have that recently? 2 Taichin and COVID, Makif and COVID, heavy. Kvadlev Paroi. So I'm keved oven, a people burdened with sin. So that's what Yitzesi is what Surmira, casting off the sin. I'll take you out from under the burden, relieve you of your burden. I will save you. That's positive, doing good. How is that conveyed in the word Vitzalti? Kitzalti gameloshin sail. Itzalti is also, from the expression sail, a shadow. Shazal mashakosov, and this is what the pasuk says. In Yeshaya, ubetzel yodi kisisicha, and with the shadow of my hand I will cover you. So this is the makif, the shadow of Hashem's hand that covers a yid, When he does a mitzvah, this refers to the transcendent level of alikus. That's what a shadow means. It's outside the person. It's a transcendent level. Mitzvahs that a person draws down through the fulfillment of mitzvahs. That's asay tov. V'ga'alti kriyat tshuva, the beginner's bina. So redemption, v'ga'alti, I'll redeem you. That's tshuva of bina. U'kanal shigula b'shminis, that bina, which is the 8th level. 7 midas is creation, ishtalshalus. And bina is higher than ishtalshalus. Again, we don't count das, because das is a key or a link. Bina is the inyan of seichel, of Deibishter's seichel, higher than ishtalshalus, as it were. So that's where redemption comes, higher than ishtalshalus, shmini. And as I mentioned, the Makir in the Torah that talks about primarily the 8th string, the 8th in the kinder and the harp, and talks about Hanukkah being 8 days and so on. So Geula, redemption, is connected to Bina, because the Bina is Shmini, B'chinas Bina. Clear? Yeah. In the final lashon, I'll take you. This refers to the tshuva of atik that we spoke before. Pnimius, the pnimius of bina, learning with chayin yechida, learning Torah with the etzaman nefesh. How is this conveyed in the word v'lakachti? Because v'lakachti, the pasuk says, v'lakachti eschem li la'om. That's what the pasuk says. It's referring to Matan Torah, the marriage. I'll take you for me as a people. And the Medrash says, Rashi brings it, the Kol Malkim Shenemar Li, whenever the pasuk says, Hashem says, me, to me, unto me, and the Zoz La'olam, it's forever. What level is forever unchanging? Only the etzim is unchanging. Because atik, which is the true level, higher than ishtalshalus, the etzim level of alikus, that's ein agbolas klal. There are no limits, truly eternal. Ein zos la'olam. So lakachti eschem li la'om. Take you unto me as a people, which is the chasen, the marriage, the pnimius, when they become Eden and Abish to become one. V'hoyu l'basar echad, inseparably and forever, as manifest in the child that comes from them. So that is v'lakachti eschem li la'om. So in summary, the 4 levels of tshuva, the 2 levels of tshuva tator, and the 2 levels of tshuva ilah, are connected the 4 letters of Shem Havaya, and correspond to the 4 expressions of Geula. V'tzeisi surira, v'tzalti is vasei tov, v'ga'alti is the tshuva. That's tshuva tator. Now v'ga'alti is the tshuva of bina, Geula, Shminis, and V'lakachti is the tshuva mitzad, the giloy of the etzem hanefesh, absolute oneness, inseparable, and forever. Tshuva coming from Yechida, Chaya Yechida. Clear? Yeah? Okay. Now today's story.
How come he doesn't connect it to the last 4, the last 2 expressions? Bakesh Shalom V'Rfehu.
Yeah, the Bakesh Shalom V'Rfehu. Yeah, so the Sumera Vasei Toiv, that's the lower 2.
Right, those are the
Bakesh Shalom V'Rfehu, that one statement refers to the 2 Eifanim in Tshuva Ilah. Bina.
But he doesn't mention it in the other one. It's mentioned Sumeras, Hutseisi, and Nitzalti.
Yeah.
He doesn't mention V'galti V'lakachti is connected to the other 2.
Yeah, he doesn't, correct, but it's implied. That's the, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't repeat it again. True. Yeah, good. Ha'tshek.